My name is Victoire Sato. I am the co-founder of The Good Goods, the first French media on sustainable fashion, and host of the podcast On Wild Fashion. And today I have the honor to moderate a panel for Première Vision. Together, I would like us to explore the next level of recycling in a closed loop. Today, we're able to recycle unsold finished garments in a new yarns, post-consumer waste to a certified, fully traceable and high-quality raw material. And we are talking about solutions at a large scale and on a global level, developed by the three companies that are my guests today. Sophie, Maud, Mattia, welcome on stage.
Thank you.
Hello.
Thank you.
Would you please introduce yourselves to start with? Sophie, if you want, then Maud, then Mattia.
Thank you. Very well. Thank you for invitation. So I am Sophie, the founder of Return, which is a very young company that we launched last year, and we are specialized on recycling unsold garments and products from brands and manufacturers.
Hello, my name is Maud. I work for Refashion. Refashion is the French eco-organization managing the EPR scheme for products, textile and footwear in France. EPR means Extended Producer Responsibility.
Hello, everyone. First, thanks for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here. And my name is Mattia Trovato, and I'm the head of communication of Manteco SPA. And Manteco is a leading textile company for sustainable fabrics and circular economy.
Well, I would like us to start with a few key numbers, if you will, for us to have a concrete image of the material and the economic potential we're talking about. So, Sophie, on the pre-consumer side with Return, can you give us a few numbers on the currently known state of remaining finished product each year and the estimated lost market?
I hope I could give you the information, but for now, the quantity of dead stock from brands and for unsold product is unknown. It's like such confidential information. But what I can say is that unsold product is a loss about $500 billion for the industry every year.
Okay. Maud, do you have a number on the volume of post-consumer waste on Refashion side, and the same question, estimated market?
Absolutely. Well, in France, we have some figures, but I prefer to share the European vision if it's fine for you. We have estimated that we have 500 million consumers in Europe, and each of these consumers is buying more or less 10 kilos per year of textile and footwear. So this is more than 5 million tons of textile and footwear that are put on the market every year. On that amount, 5 million tons, 1/3 of these products are being separately collected through your own containers, for instance, and those products are being recycled or reused. And so the remaining 2/3, which is 3.4 million tons, is today being absolutely wasted into incineration or landfill. So the figures you have to remember is today only 1/3 is being collected and recycled, and the rest, the 3.4 million, have to be recycled tomorrow.
Okay, thank you for sharing this. Mattia, on your side, Manteco is a very old company. You started recycling textile fibers since 1941. Can you tell us a word about the changing view of brands regarding, this offer and the current demand for recycled materials? Is it increasing?
Yes, it has increased in the past 2 years. And, till 2020, we used to use like 1 million kilograms of post-consumer materials. And in the past few years, we are getting close to 2 million kilograms of post-consumer and pre-consumer material. And that includes wool, so post-consumer knits and pre-consumer waste. But also, we are starting to work with recycled cotton, for example. But still, our specialty is recycled wool. And we also put a nice thing on our website since it's been like 3 or 4 months, we show in real time the number of knits, of post-consumer knits we are currently recycling to produce fabrics for brands. So we've seen a nice, an increase in the demand for sustainable fabrics. That is like certified virgin fabrics, but also a big increase in recycled wool fabrics. And this is a good sign for the fashion world.
We're going to see how you work on the pre and the post-consumer side right after. Sophie, you work on the pre-consumer side. You restore and reevaluate the dead stock, either for textile or for finished garments that were unsold. Can you tell us exactly what WeTurn do?
Sure. WeTurn is both a service and a product, because we have created like a recycling channel for the brands who has fabrics and unsold goods that they didn't use and they didn't sell on the market. And these products, we transform them into new yarns, which is here, for example. We offer two options to our clients. If the clients want to reuse the yarn, he can. So it's like a closed loop project. He gives us his requirements, and so we develop for him the yarns that he wants to obtain and to use in another collection. And so if the brand don't want to use the yarn we develop, we sell it on the market to manufacturers like knitters and weavers. So this is what we do, and Adjeclo is a real opportunity for us, because in several months it will be forbidden in France to destroy all the unsold fabrics and goods. So we are this solution for the professional.
Thank you. Can you tell us a bit more about the logistical aspects? How does it work? Are you a connector? Do you centralize all the fabrics? How does it work?
Sure, we are a coordinator of all the channel that we have created. In fact, the brands, they entrust us the product. So they give us an inventory of the products they have in stock. And so we organize the sorting based on this inventory and the information that we have. So we organize the sorting, the collection, the logistic to the recyclers. And the sorting is based on materials. So we separate the cotton and the wool and every kind of product. We organize the homogeneous batches, and then we send it to the recyclers with who we develop the yarns. For example, we work with Monteco, who is our historical partner in Italy for the wool. And once we obtain the yarn, we give it back to the manufacturers. And then we follow the products until the end, until the final consumer with the traceability process.
And today, who is your clients upstream and downstream? I understand well the fact that if we're in a closed loop, it's easy to resell, the yarn. But what about the open one? Do you easily find brands willing to buy recycled yarns?
Yes, actually, the brands we work with is like luxury brands, but not only. It means that we work with the different kind of brands which has qualitative materials, so wool or natural materials. And for the buyers, so it's we did the first months of the activity of WeTurn. We have talked with many people, many manufacturers, to better understand what they were looking for. How do they think about what the expectation on recycling industry? Why don't they use for now the recycled fibers? And so we collected a lot of information. And so now we have a lot of manufacturers that give us their requirements. So now we develop the yarn for them. And once we have a collection, a production, we call them and we say, okay, we have the yarn you asked for. And so we sell it to them with the pre-order process, because we don't want to develop yarns that nobody wants to use.
Okay, very nice. And how do you manage the intellectual properties of the prints or of the fabric, for example, if you sell it in a closed loop, in an open loop, sorry?
Okay, so just you have to know that we don't buy the material. It's always the the brands want. So when one brand asks us to recycle their products with intellectual property, they entrust us the product, and the first step is the destruction of the value of the product. So before recycling, they go through a cutter machine, and so the product don't has any more value. So now it's only raw material. It's not anymore a product. It's only material. So we don't actually have a lot of, but we have developed like a logistic and tools dedicated to this kind of products. But it's not for now a big issue for us.
Okay. And do you have any idea of the financial added value this bring to your customers?
Yes, of course. There are two values. For example, if the client asks for a closed loop project, he makes, how do you say, profit on the raw material. It means that he is not going to buy new raw materials on the market because he's already having the material. We're just transforming it for him. So it's like a gain of raw material. And the second option, if we choose to make an open loop project, when we sell it when we sell the yarn on the market, we share the revenue. So he's making value on this stock. And before it was destroyed, and now he take advantage of it and he make a profit.
Okay, and how do you ensure the quality of the final fabric? I think that maybe Mattia can also answer that question. But what happened, because you don't really know what kind of fabric you'll have upstream, you know? So do you sort them out in order to be sure that you have the good quality at the end?
Sure, Maud can also talk about it. It's the most important step for recycle is the sorting, and the chance we have with Unsold Good is that the brands have all the information about the composition, the volume, and every kind of information we will need for recycling. So we know at the very beginning which kind of project we will have on the batches that we will collect.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we have developed in-house with the ARD team a very specific method to organize the sorting based on the inventory that the brand share with us. So we know exactly which kind of fabrics we will have because we choose the fabrics that we want. And so, and that's easy. It's easy. No, it's not easy, but it's better like this way than the post-consumer, we could say. And so we can obtain then the highest quality of recycled material because the products are clean. They were never it's let's see, it's like a very new material. So you just put it back into a machine and then you take back the material.
Mattia, you can confirm that this allow you to ensure 100% merino, for example, when you sell recycled wool?
Yes. The sorting phase, as Sophie said, it's a key phase for recycling, especially in wool. And yes, of course, when it's about recycled materials, a little allowance is always needed, because sometimes the knits or the garments that are sorted do not have anymore the care labels, so we do not really know exactly the composition. Of course, we can understand it by the touch and the look, but sometimes the touch and the look can be misleading, so a little tolerance is always needed. But yes, thanks to a good sorting process, we can ensure a good composition of the new yarns or fabrics that are produced. Yes.
On the post-consumer side, the tough one, Maud, will have you explaining what does Refashion do?
Yes, thank you. Well, Refashion, like I mentioned, is the eco-organization managing the EPR for France. So we are appointed by the French Ministry of Environment. We are here to enhance all the stakeholders of the industry to work in a circular model. The mechanism is very simple. Brands have the legal obligation in France to pay for the waste management of their used textile and footwear. So they have to pay a contribution to Refashion. And this contribution, which is about 35 million euros in 2021, we use this contribution to finance three things. First, we finance the sorting operators. Like mentioned Sophie, this is a critical step in the recycling process. Then we also support communication campaigns made by the local authorities. And third, we invest in R&D and innovative projects to develop the recycling technologies and solutions.
Okay, how do you federate the different stakeholders in the industry? Are your partner local, or are you able to source, material from other places in the world, Europe, etc.?
So far, we are only appointing to manage the French waste from the French consumers, but I know that many European countries are thinking that EPR could be a solution for them. For instance, Sweden has voted the EPR scheme for textile this year, and countries like Belgium or the Netherlands or Spain are also considering that EPR could be a solution, because we know that brands are selling all over the world, and the issue of managing the waste of the textile industry is a global problem.
Okay, so you work as the connector in between the actors, the recycling players, and you recently launched a digital platform to do so, which is called Recycle, I think.
Exactly.
Can you explain us what it is and how it works?
Sure. Recycle is a new digital platform that will be launched officially at the end of September, but you can already go and have a quick sneak peek at the presentation. The idea of this platform is to be the Tinder of the textile waste, post-consumer waste, but also post-production and even unsold garments. I know that Sophie is already connected to the platform. The idea of this platform is to be able to have a visual presentation of all the waste streams, and to be able to connect between the sorters, the integrators, and also the preparators. The preparators are the companies that will transform the waste into new material.
Okay, and you mentioned your role in innovation. You also launched a few years ago the challenge innovation challenge, literally, to support the revaluation of post-consumer waste. Could you tell us what the challenge is about and share maybe a major advance, a major innovation that you rewarded?
Absolutely. Over the last 10 years, we have invested more than 5 million euros to support roughly 50 innovative projects. And the idea is to accelerate the recycling solutions. And through this annual contest, which is called Innovation Challenge, which is opening in September and it's open until December, we are here to find new innovation and new projects. We will launch the 2021 edition in a few days. Over the last 10 years, we had more or less 15 or 20 projects that have managed to go from POC to industrial demonstrators, and we are very proud of this. And the two I want to mention is maybe Filature du Parc, which is a French spinner that is working in many different industries, apparel, automotive, garments, and also furnishing. And Filature du Parc has managed to recycle very different materials like wool, like cotton, like polyester, and he is currently working on the recycling of polyamide. And all those materials are coming from post-consumer waste, which is really complicated. Like mentioned Sophie, we have to characterize the exact component of each waste. So this is the first one. And the second one I want to mention is a French brand called 1083 that you maybe heard of, which is a denim brand. And they have launched a very innovative project to be able to recycle in closed loop denim, used denim, and to recreate a denim yarn, to be able to respin and to reconfectionate a denim product.
Okay. Recycling in textile is nothing new. We mentioned that Menteco was one of the pioneers more than 80 years ago. So I'm wondering today, what are the obstacles to a massive industrialization for this industry, for this, textile and recycling industry?
I would say that I can maybe point three massive obstacles. The first one, like we said, is to develop an automatic solution to characterize the composition of the waste. And we are supporting different technologies like the NIR spectrometer, And we are also supporting a technology based on the RFID tags. Once we will have the exact composition of each garment, of each t-shirt, denim, or vest, or whatever, we will be able to separate them from the others because each material has a different technology to optimize the recycling process, both mechanical, chemical, enzymatic. There are many different technologies, but the first step is to know exactly the composition of your waste. The second big obstacle is to be able to develop an automatic dismantling of the clothing. When you look at a garment, like a dress, for instance, you have buttons, you have zippers, you have any, I would say, accessories that will complexify the recycling process. And you have to remove all those buttons and zippers to be able to go back to the fabric and then to be able to recycle it. And the third obstacle is that we have to create a cross-sector synergy. For instance, the textile waste we have in our industry are fantastic raw materials for the car industry or for house construction. So we have to create links with those industries and to be able to, I would say, help them in replacing the virgin material they are using by our used textiles. And this will be the solution to increase the recycling solution in Europe.
And if we focus on clothing, would there be any recommendation, ahead of production to improve recycling at a very early stage with eco-conception or material marking, simple principles to help the sorting?
Yes. That's a good question. At Refashion, we support three key elements when we are discussing with the brand and when we are advising them into eco-design methods. First one, you have to focus on durability. The more the garment is durable, the less you have to recycle it. Once this is done, you have to focus on recyclability. It's easier to recycle a 100% cotton t-shirt than a t-shirt that will have cotton, polyester, elastane, polyamide. Because once you have a product with mixed composition, it's really complex to recycle it. And the third, I would say, suggestion is to integrate a maximum of recycled material. Closed loop is really a key driver to increase the eco-design of European products.
Mattia, you seem to agree with her. You work both on the post and the pre-consumer sides. I would like you to, maybe it's a hard exercise, but to illustrate, the main steps of your offer and the evolution of your offer at Manteco.
Yes, I completely agree with Maud because an automation in the sorting process would be like the key, because nowadays recycling materials is still really slow because, sorting processes and cleaning processes, because as Maud was saying, buttons and zippers and, linings, they all need to be removed from garments. And it is still done by hand. So it takes a lot of time. And the more, complicated are the designs of garments, the slower will be the recycling process in the future. And, the main problems were the ones that Maud highlighted, but, there are also other problems like sewing threads, which seems to be like something really small that, doesn't hinder the process of recycling. But actually, usually sewing threads are made of polyester, which create a lot of problems, especially in the shredding phase, when you turn the garments into new fiber. That is really a key problem that we face every day. And, I take this to tell you how we make recycled fabrics. So, of course, there is a sorting phase. And then we shred the garments to create the new recycled wool fiber, which is shorter than the virgin fiber, but still long enough to be spinned again. So once we have this, we create the new color, because in wool recycling, there is no chemical dyeing. So once we shred different knits of different colors, we have bales full of raw materials that are all already colored by their former life. So we do like painters. We take different fibers of different colors and we mix them together. We parallelize them to create a new color without dyes and chemicals. And that is one of the best things about wool recycling, even because the colors you create by using this process are unique. So every time they are a little different. So even in this case, as the composition, we need a little tolerance, but I think it's fine for consumers and brands because it's such a good practice that, you know, tolerance is the, you know, you don't care about tolerance because you're doing something so great that, you know, we just need to do it. And this process of creating colors, we call it recipe because it's an actual recipe for a new color, but without chemicals. And once we have the new color, we multiply the recipe for the kilograms of yarns that needs to be produced for the brand. And we spin everything. So the fibers, all the different fibers are parallelized and we create new yarns. And then we weave the fabric or we knit the fabric because we also do jersey fabrics. And then the grease fabric goes to the finishing mill where it actually gets the final look. So this is a long process and it involves a lot of different factories. We have a supply chain of more than 56 partners. So we have a lot of spinning mills, weaving mills, and there are a lot of quality check in the meantime. So it's really a long process.
And I encourage everyone hearing us to go to your website because the recipe and all the process are like wonderfully illustrated. That's really great. And you recently developed a 100% material that is recycled, fully traceable and coming with a life cycle analysis of its environmental saving proof, which is also available on your website. This in order to, I guess, address the luxury market. Is this compatible with luxury products then?
Yes, yes, it is. I mean, it is the result of really years and years of experiments. And because you know, since the fiber is shorter once you recycle it, it was really hard to create a yarn that was strong enough to be spinned again by using, you know, 100% recycled wool. That was a tough challenge, but, you know, we just took into consideration all the details of all the production stages I told to you before. And even when you shred the garments, it can change a lot if you shred them in certain ways. Even the way you put them on the belt of the machine that shreds the fabrics or the garments makes a lot of difference, you know, on the results of the shredding process. So, you know, step by step, we found a way and we took all the phases to the maximum level to be able to create these 100% recycled wool fabrics. And yes, it has a life cycle assessment. I mean, we have obtained a certification on the life cycle assessment last year. We have our calculation method, and we extended the study to almost all of our recycled fabrics. But, you know, since we are talking about this kind of fabrics, I can tell you that the impacts are really reduced since, you know, you don't have to use virgin raw materials, you don't have to dye the fabric, so you don't even have to carbonize the fabric, which is usually done with virgin wool fabrics. So by eliminating all this, you know, the virgin raw material and all the polluting and energy consuming processes, we achieved savings of like 83% in water consumption. So just to give you an example, instead of using 12 liters of water, we just use 4 liters of water per meter. That could be an example. And the CO2 emissions are 77% reduced. And the use of energy, total energy, is like minus 70%, more or less. And these percentages are always almost the same, even when it comes to other fabrics that are not 100% recycled wool. But generally, I can say that our recycled wool fabrics impact like 75% less than equivalent fabrics made with generic virgin wool. That's what we can say, and that was really important for us, especially in the past few years, because all of a sudden it seemed like that every company had become sustainable out of the blue, and we can say that we are sustainable and that we produce sustainable fabrics with data, and that is fundamental for even for transparency.
Sure, proofs and measurements, absolutely. And would you say, and Sophie, this question goes to you too, but that apart from the financial benefits that we can see, of the revaluation of debt stock, is it can this be a benefit, for a brand to use as a positive image? Is it an argument that brands are looking for when they come to you to buy debt stock? Do you feel like, we're going through the right direction?
I think so, yes. You know that when we have some clients that come to us, there are two types of clients. They are the ones who has already interned the sustainable departments and they know about it. So it's easier because they have already anticipated, and there are the other ones who are discovering it, and so they are still trying to understand. But for in our vision, we think there is a financial aspect, but not only. There is also an ecological gain, and when you recycle, you make ecological benefits of raw material, and this is for us as important as the financial profitability, because for a long time we forgot this point, and for now the transition will have a cost, and it will have a cost. And I think, in my opinion, that the brands that don't take the lead now, they won't survive, because it's now or it's never. And in my opinion, when you ask for about financial aspect and profit, this is not only about financial, this is about a very long-term construction. It's about industry. It means that we believe in Europe we can be again a leader on the textile industry. We can rebalance the international market, because as everybody know, a lot of industry, textile industry has closed in France, but it was not the case as much for Italy. And we believe that we can, with recycling, we can take back this position of leader, and this is a real opportunity. And this transition will have a cost for a long term, but hopefully it's moving now, because there is the law, and the law is a real opportunity for us actors of this industry, because Maud is working at Refashion for a long time. I think for 2 years they see everything growing, because there is the law, and without the law, I'm not sure the brand will be all that much focused on these points. Mm-hmm. So we need the legal aspects, but we need also the consumers that are, for now, they are changing the vision of the thing. And so at the middle of this, there are all the professionals, and so we have to encourage them to move with the right arguments. I don't know how to say more. It's not about, what I mean is not only about financial, it's much more than this.
Absolutely. And we also need visions of new leaders. And when preparing the interview, I got Matteo Mantelassi from Monteco on the phone. He told me it's time for us to change the value of things and find values in beauty, in impact, in durability, and not only in economy. So I suggest we finish on that. I'm so sorry, because there is so much to discuss. We're running out of time. I leave everyone, I let the opportunity to everyone to join us on the chat for questions. We can also put the links of your companies and maybe email if anyone wants to get in touch. Thank you very much for sharing all of this
Thank
with
you.
us, and see you very soon at
Thank
Première
you.
Vision.
Bye-bye. Thank you.